Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're back with another episode of Recruit of the Week, and that is Blake Frazier setting a multi-day visit to Michigan. So he will be on campus for 4 or 5 days, a lot of his spring break, I believe. Blake Frazier is a top 300 prospect out of Austin Vandegrift in the great state of Texas. He is currently ranked by On3 as the number 14 offensive tackle in the country and the number 157 overall prospect nationally. Blake Frazier is a name you guys should know already. He is a priority, or potentially the priority, along the offensive line. He also happens to be a legacy recruit. His father snapped for the legendary Tom Brady and is a Michigan alum. So a lot of maize and blue blood running through Blake Frazier's body. He is a guy that grew up rooting for Michigan, watching Michigan games. So he even admitted that it was hard for him to stay kind of non-biased towards Michigan during the recruiting process, just because he has so many ties to the university. And he did tell me his father, who is Steve Frazier, by the way, he told me his father has kind of let him make his own decision, has encouraged him to visit some other schools and take a look at what other schools have to offer. And Blake has taken that advice. Of course, Steve loves Michigan, and that's been expressed to Blake as well. This will be his third visit. He visited last year a couple of times. He, again, is now set to make a multi-day trip to Michigan. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions. Can Michigan close with Blake Frazier on this visit? I mean, that would be the hope. Again, Blake has been pretty even keel with the recruiting process. He is interested in a lot of other programs. He's making visits to other programs as well. So I don't think it's a guarantee that Michigan closes. I do think that is the hope. I do think that there could be an opportunity for them to do that. Sharon Moore has done a fantastic job of recruiting Frazier. Obviously, Frazier was impressed with the offensive line play the last couple of years, winning back-to-back Joe Moore Awards. So everything's kind of lined up there for Michigan to do that. But Michigan historically, or at least since I've been on the beat, isn't a team that closes with guys super early when they are considering schools like Blake Frazier is considering. At the same time, I think Frazier being a legacy recruit helps. You already have a legacy recruit committed in Jacob Oden, so I think that could help as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Oden shows up to campus on one of those days and helps Michigan with the recruitment of Frazier. I think having a guy already locked in along the offensive line in Luke Hamilton, who could be a recruiting tool for Frazier as well, could also help. But at the end of the day, Frazier's going to make his own decision. And he told me, while it would be terrific to follow in his father's footsteps, he also wants to be Blake Frazier, and that's completely fair. So who are some of the other schools involved in his recruitment? Obviously, you have the in-state schools, Texas and Texas A&M. He's been to Clemson in the past. You have other regional schools involved like LSU and Oklahoma. He's been to Penn State. He is visiting Oregon as well. So a good group of highly touted Power 5 programs, right? This is not going to just be a layup recruitment because Blake Frazier is a legacy. Sharon Moore and company are going to have to work really hard to land him. He does have some other big-time suitors, and he really does like those programs. When I last talked to Blake, he spoke very highly of Clemson. He spoke very highly of Penn State. Oregon has kind of come into the picture. He's spoken highly of Texas A&M in the past. I know Texas recently hosted him as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how his recruitment plays out. Now, if Michigan does not close with him during his multi-day visit in the spring, which I think is huge, and I keep reiterating multi-day because, if you're spending 4 or 5 days on campus, that's a long time to see a lot of different things. It's even more extended than an official visit. So I think the focus during those days will be on Blake Frazier. I think he'll get to see every single thing the program has to offer, on top of the fact that he's already familiar with it, being a legacy guy and having visited on multiple occasions in the past. But everything is going to be there for Michigan to seal the deal with Frazier, and it would be terrific to get him on board. Not just because he is a legacy guy, but because he can be a leader for the class and because he's just a talented prospect. You look at his offer sheet, and it's better than any offer sheet from any other guy last cycle. So I think Blake Frazier would be a terrific add. I really love his game. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Frazier as a prospect. So he is a true tackle. Watched a little bit of his film. He is 6'6", 260 pounds. He is on the lighter side, obviously, but he has been adding some good weight over the last year. I think the frame is there for Frazier to add 30 more pounds, 40 more pounds. I mean, he's very much on the thin side for his frame. Not to say that, he's a twig or anything, but the frame is there for him to add quite a bit of weight, and I think he will do that. I'm really excited to see what Frazier could turn into under the guidance of Ben Herbert in Michigan's strength and conditioning program, who obviously does a tremendous job of reshaping bodies and maximizing the most out of guys like Frazier, who can pack the pounds and can add some good muscle mass as well. But Frazier's already a big, strong kid. I mean, you look at his film and you'd think, oh man, he's a true tackle. He's just gonna do a lot of pass sets and a lot of pass pro, and that's not necessarily the case. Like, the first few minutes of his film is him down blocking and run blocking and putting guys in the dirt and getting to the next level and taking out linebackers and safeties. I mean, this guy plays with a nasty streak. He's super physical. He's a great technician. No surprise, his father, again, was a Michigan offensive lineman and has been coaching up Blake since, he was born. So I feel like that's going to help as well. Blake has a really high ceiling. Like I said, he's a really safe take along the offensive line, but you're still really excited about what he can become. So I think he's both a high floor, high ceiling take, which is really exciting in my opinion. So again, a lot to like about Blake Frazier. It's really easy to see why he's a priority along the offensive line, and he did it. Remember, when you watch his film, he's doing it against top competition in the state of Texas in a really high classification. He had a tremendous junior year, and I think Blake's going to shoot up the rankings even more once you put on his senior film, because I think he's going to progress rapidly. I think he can turn into a top 100 prospect for sure.